Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. If you are in here, we got LinkedIn in the house, we got YouTube in the house. Let me go ahead on and check my comments and see who is here. If you are in the room, go ahead on and hit the share. And right after you share, let me know where you're joining me from. Let me know where you are joining me from. I think I have my comments up here and ready. I had to share this to my personal profile on inside of Facebook. So let me know if you are in the room. It says that I have some people watching. Let me know who you are and let me know where you are joining from. I should be able to see your comments. I have some stuff up and running here where I can multitask to different platforms. Let me know where you are joining from. Y'all, today's topic. Woo! Today's topic. Woo, 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 woo. My goodness. It's definitely one that's near and dear to my heart. But I know that it's near and dear to a lot of other people's hearts. I cannot tell y'all the many things I've heard about marriage, the many things I've seen and have experienced my own self. And I feel like we do people a disjustice when we don't talk about certain topics. And so on this platform, we talk about topics that don't nobody else want to talk about, especially when it comes to relationships, because our relationships ain't relationship goals. Let's just be honest. Our relationships are not relationship goals, and we shouldn't want some of them to be relationship goals. That we should not. Just really keeping it a 100. So if you are on the platform, I thought I was able to share. I'm not seeing it pop up on my personal profile. So I'm going to try something a little bit different to see if I can get it on my personal profile. But if you are on here, if you will go ahead, if you're on Facebook, go ahead on and share so that people on Facebook are able to see it. If not, they'll have to go back and watch the replay once I share it from my with the replay. For some reason it's not showing up. I don't know. I don't know what Facebook is doing. I don't know. I have no idea. But it's okay. It's okay. So who am I always forget to introduce myself, y'all. So hey thee. Hello, hello, hello. I always forget to introduce myself. For those who don't know me, my name is Dr. Tiffany Ross. I am a therapist and a relationship expert, and I specialize with working with women who are healing and recovering from traumatic relationships, like a toxic relationship. So if you've joined us for the past few days, since Monday, we've been talking about toxic relationships. And so I started off by giving some subtle signs that you are in a toxic relationship. And I didn't specify whether I was talking about intimate relationships or family members or friends or whatever, because it really does not matter. The signs are still the same. Toxic people create toxic work environments. Toxic people make toxic friendships. Toxic people make toxic partners. And if you become married to someone who is toxic, then guess what? You have a toxic marriage. So that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about toxic marriage. We've already went through those subtle signs. So go back and look at those subtle signs, the videos that we posted all this week. We've been talking about that. Yesterday, we talked about can you begin putting boundaries in place if you are in a relationship with a toxic person, or you encounter a toxic person, whether it's a friendship, relationship, it does not matter. It does not matter. These things will help you regardless of what kind of relationship you are in. So go check out those videos. My replays are always up on YouTube. You can always check them out on whatever platform you're checking out. I leave the replays up for that reason, because people are in different parts of the United States or in the different countries, so they catch at different times. But the replays will always be up and available for you to go back and check out. So I like to start off with some stats. I'm starting off this one with some stats because I feel like some things need to hit home for some people before, like we're gonna start off with some stats today. So I want to start out with this one, because of course we know that divorce is at like 50%. I think it may have dropped here recently. I couldn't confirm that before my live, but it was at about 50%. And it didn't matter whether or not the person was, a Christian or not. Christian marriages, I think I looked up some stats. The divorce rate for Christian marriages are right at like 40%. So it's still kind of high. That's still kind of high. So here's what I want to talk about today is why, no, I'm not even going to go there right at the beginning. So here's what I'm going to say. I feel like we have been teaching marriage wrong. Let me just say that. I feel like we have been teaching marriage wrong, particularly in the U.S. I can't speak for other cultures, and because I'm not in another culture. I'm not in another country. I can't speak for another country. I can only speak from what I have observed being in the U.S. We have taught marriage wrong. In the Christian community, we have taught marriage wrong. I'm a firm believer that we've taught marriage wrong, which is why we're seeing the rate of divorce not being too different from the rate of divorces that's around the country, around the U.S. There's really not a whole lot of difference between Christian marriages and regular marriages. So I believe we have taught marriage wrong. And so one of the things that I want to talk about today is toxic marriages, because marriage is not a cure. If you've been following me on Facebook, I put a couple of posts out there already. Marriage is not a cure for poor behavior. If a person is exhibiting red flags when you are dating, then if you don't address those red flags when you are dating, and they don't go get help and healing and all of this stuff while you are dating or during that dating phase, then guess what? Those things carry right on over into the marriage. They don't just go away. Lust just doesn't, it doesn't go away. If the person is lustful, and we know for the Christian community, for believers, what lust is I want to censor this for, go Google it. Go Google it, because I'm not going to get my video taken down off of Facebook. Go Google what lust is. Go Google what perversion is. But some things that we'll talk about, and we started off talking about this past week, is cheating, infidelity, pornography, because all of this, these are perverted things. These are lustful things that are going on, that people are dealing with. And I know some some parts of our society normalize these things. They normalize these things. They normalize the going to buy the toys and the vibrators and all. They normalize these things. As a single, I don't need a man, I can just go buy a toy. They normalize these things, but that does not make it right. And I believe a lot of these things are contributing to the decline that we're seeing in marriages. And so I want to talk a little bit about toxic marriages. Oh God, help me today. Toxic marriages. So what is a toxic marriage? Oh, I was supposed to start with some stats. See, y'all got me jumping ahead of myself. Let me go back to some stats. The National, let me make sure I get their name right. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Because if you remember, if we're talking about toxic relationships, then that means that there's some form of abuse in the relationship. Now, the stats that I'm about to give you right now is particularly related to domestic abuse, or to domestic violence, or intimate partner violence is the one that we're specifically focusing on. But there are many different types of abuse. There's emotional abuse, there's mental abuse, there's sexual assault abuse. Like, all of these things can actually go on inside of a relationship. So when I say abuse, I don't want you to think that I'm just talking about domestic violence or sexual violence, because that is not the only type of abuse. Those are the only types of abuse that we've traditionally only focused on, particularly with marriage. I was in a discussion, I'm going to say it was a discussion, with someone on YouTube based off the video that I posted about that your spouse can sexually violate you. And the person was arguing me. I said it was a discussion because I know how to have a discussion and, it not take me to a place. I thank God. I know how to hush when I need to hush. And so, but the person was pretty much arguing with me that your partner, the very fact that you're married gives consent. And I totally disagree. The fact that you're married do not give consent to your partner to do and have and do whatever they want with you. It does not. Marriage you still have to consent inside of a marriage. And I think I said that a little bit yesterday, so go back and watch the replay. I'm not going to get off on that tangent because I went through that yesterday. But marriage does not give consent. Just because you're married does not entitle your partner to do whatever they want with your body whenever they want. It does not. And if you come into the marriage with that thought that, we know, especially with Christian marriages, your body is not your own. Your body is not your own. That is the scripture. But we still have to respect the person. We cannot say your body is not your own at the expense of their self-esteem or at the expense of their safety inside of the marriage. We cannot do that. It still involves consent. So here's some stats on intimate partner violence by the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. It says on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the U.S. That's 20 people per minute. So I usually stay on these lives about what, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. So imagine that's 20 people and we're on live giving by 30 minutes. What's that? About 600 people? Is that about 600 people? 2 times 3 is 6, and then 0, 0, the short math. That's 600 people. So by the time we have ended this live, 600 people would have been physically abused by an intimate partner in the U.S. In the U.S. And it says that this equates to more than 10 million women and men in a year. About 10 million women and men. And then the stats go on to talk about like the 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 women experience severe intimate partner physical violence. Intimate partner contact, sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking with impacts such as injury, fearfulness, PTSD, use of victim services, contraction of STDs. This is what their stats say. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men. So for every 4 women that you know, one of them would have went through this, or for every 9 men that you know, one of them would have went through this. One of them would have been impacted by severe intimate partner violence. And I love that the definition includes intimate partner contact, sexual violence, because it debunks the idea that because you're in a relationship with a person that it automatically gives consent. It does not give consent. I know people right now that are recovering from being sexually violated by their spouse. So these things are happening. And we cannot continue to ignore it, nor can we continue to tell people that they have to stay inside of marriages where that it is a toxic environment. We cannot keep telling people that. We cannot keep beating people over the head with scriptures about marriage when they are suffering inside of these marriages. They're suffering. Whether it's domestic violence, sexual violence, whether they're mentally, imagine being in a relationship with someone who is playing mind games with you, and you don't know whether today Monday or Tuesday, because they're playing all these different mind games with you, and you don't have your self-esteem is gone. You don't know who you are. You're not doing what you want to do in life. You're not even who you are. You don't even really know who you are, because this person has really just really taking is killing yourself. I probably shouldn't. They're hurting your self-esteem. They're hurting your self-esteem. They're hurting your mental health. They're hurting you. They're not helping you. And if we really look at marriage and what marriage should be, which is a partnership. It's a partnership. We've taught submission all the way wrong. Because of the way I've heard it, and I can only speak for me, the way I've heard submission taught is in the aspect of, well, this is the man and this is the woman. The woman is underneath, because I can't think of the word I was looking for, is underneath the man. And that is not submission. That is not submission. Does it mean that the man is the lead? Absolutely. But does that mean that you don't have a say-so? Does that mean that your thoughts, your ideas, your values, and who you are and all of that comes beneath him? Absolutely not. And in actuality, we are submitted to one another, which involves mutual respect. Mutual respect for who you are, mutual respect for what you want to do. And it does not mean that I'm going to take the back burner permanently because you should shine. And traditionally, that's what we have seen in a lot of, I can't speak for other marriages, but for Christian marriages, that is what we've seen. We've seen women. I know women who have been, what can I say? I'm looking for the word. condemned to hell because they want to take more leadership roles, or even being in leadership roles in the church, or being in leadership roles even outside the church, or wanting to go get advanced degrees. They're being condemned for these things because of insecure partners. I said that. Because of insecure partners. It has nothing to do with the Bible. We should just really stop lying on the Lord. It has nothing to do with the Bible. It has everything to do with insecure partners. Insecure partners. So we need to reteach what submission in marriage looks like and what it should be. Hey, Dr. Z. We need to reteach what it looks like. Marriage is about mutual respect, mutual honor. And we can't keep telling people that are in these horrible marriages that they should stay because of a vow they created. We are doing them a disservice. I'm all off of my notes. Let me get back on my notes. So what should we do? Because I work with women all the time. And so what should we do? And I can't tell you the many inboxes I've gotten of women who said that they met with pastors, and I'm just saying this for the Christian community. They have met with pastors who have told them, they share that, hey, there's some abuse going on in the relationship, whether it's physical, mental. Sometimes we just don't think it's abuse if it's not physical. I don't know. Let's get rid of that idea. Abuse comes in many different formats. But they said that they've met with their pastors or leaders, in certain areas, and they tell them to go back to these marriages. So I want to give, these are particularly for you if you're in any capacity interacting with someone who is in a marriage, whether that's your business, whether that's in your family, or whether that's you're in a church or a religious organization or some type of organization. If you're interacting with someone who is married and they come to you, they confide in you, they feel safe enough. That's number one. They feel safe enough. If a person come to you and they tell you about what's going on in their life, that means they trust you with it and they feel safe enough. So if they feel safe enough to come to you and share, hey, this is what's going on in my marriage. Here's what I don't want you to do. Oh, come on. She said religion will fail you. Dr. Z, she's on IG. She says religion will fail you, but your spiritual heart will not. Your spiritual heart will not. And girl, so you missed when I was talking about religion. That we've taught it all wrong with submission and marriage and all of that. You have to go back and catch the replay. We talked a little bit about that. But I want to give some tools on what you can do if someone comes to you and, and they confide in you about what's going on in their relationship. What I don't want you to do is beat them over the head with legalism. Do not beat them over the head with legalism. Don't beat them over the head with the Bible says, or you made the vow. Don't beat them over the head with that. We don't want to hear that. If we're confiding in you, and I'm saying we because I've been there. We don't want to hear you beating us over the head in a moment where it's probably the most vulnerable time in our life. Because one thing about marriage, when you're in a marriage, the other person's issues become your issue. And so if you feel safe enough to confide in someone and share with them that you're going through a particular thing, what we want to know is that you're there to hear me. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? And if a person comes to you and they name abuse at any point of time, don't tell them to go get no book. Don't tell them to go watch no videos. Especially not no videos on how to make your marriage work. Because at that point, if abuse is present, and if it's a toxic marriage, abuse is present. Let's just go ahead on and say that. Abuse is present. The worst thing you can tell them to do is to keep working inside of that relationship. That's the worst thing that you can tell them to do. Go try to make it work. Go try to make it work. Have you tried such and such and such and such? That's the wrong thing to tell someone who is in an abusive situation what to do. That's the wrong thing to do. But what you can do is to encourage them to work on them. And a part of that is going to be you making sure that they're safe, because their safety is always priority. A person's safety is always priority. So what we should do is to ask them, do they feel safe? Are they safe? How can I help you get to somewhere safe? Some of these benevolent funds need to go toward therapy and funding some domestic violence shelters, or coming up with some programs of how we can help women, because this stuff is going on in your congregations. It's going on in your businesses. It's going on in your organizations. So are you funding the support that your employers need? If they're going through these situations, do you have these resources readily available inside of your organization where someone come to you, or if you notice certain things, because there are certain things you may notice. Someone coming to work with a black eye, it's kind of hard to miss. It's kind of hard to miss. It's really hard to miss. So do you have things set up? Do you have EAP programs set up in your businesses? Do you have, are you providing resources for those even small businesses who may not have the resources to provide EAP services, or they may not have the resources to give funding, to insurance to their employees. If your employee is part-time, they may not qualify for insurance. But do you have these resources available, or some resources available that could help your partners, your employees or members or people that you know that need them, so that you're not directing them back in a situation that you should be encouraging them to go get some support in? So what did I say? Number one, we're not going to send them back. We're going to make sure we're not going to tell them to do more, to go do more, because I guarantee you they've probably done a lot. They probably have done a lot already. What I want you to do is make sure that they're safe. That is priority. Make sure that they are safe, and make sure that you have resources on hand that you can direct them to. Even if you need to invite yourself and open your home, we don't do that anymore. That whole sense of community thing, we've gotten so far away from that. The actual genuineness of just caring about other people, we've gotten so far away from that. And so to some degree we need to get back to that. Now, I know it's not Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but it is Suicide Prevention Month. And sometimes, when we see these things happen, coming across the news or in our neighborhoods and communities where someone has attempted or have completed, suicide or died by suicide, like we like, what happened? They seem so. But they so full of life, and they had so much going on, and we get puzzled. We're puzzled. And in my brain, I'm like, well, how didn't we know? Where are the people that care? Like, where are the people who saw the signs and actually picked up the phone and called, or saw the signs and actually pulled them to the side and said, hey, are you okay? Is there something I can help you with? I notice, you're struggling a little bit. Is there, something going on? Your behaviors change. Where are the people that care? And so we need to get back to caring. And even when it comes down to toxic marriages, where are the people that can pull people aside and hold people accountable for their actions? Where are y'all? Where are y'all? Where are these seasoned marriages that's 30, 40, 50 years? Where y'all at? And why are you giving back to other marriages? Are you pouring into them? We need to get back to community and just caring about other people. Not beating them over the head, not, telling them they need to do more. But sometimes, especially when we're talking about toxic marriages, the doing more is them focusing on their own healing. Because one thing is for sure, two things for certain. If there's a toxic marriage, there are two broken people. There are two broken people. And so we should be encouraging them to go get help. Not together, not together, because a real counselor, therapist should not see toxic marriages together. It should not happen. Not in the beginning, maybe later on, but in the beginning, they should be seen separately. We don't see them together. And as professionals, as mental health professionals, I hope this is a call to you guys to actually do more in-depth assessment on couples, and not just look for the violence, the physical violence and the sexual violence, but also look for the emotional abuse that's going on inside of relationships, because you shouldn't be seeing them together. You should be separating them and telling them both to go see an individual therapist. That is the best route, the first thing that should be done. So let me look. I just been kind of talking away, and I hope you guys hear my heart. Hope you guys hear my heart. Like I said, I don't come on to just talk about easy topics. It's just, I just don't. But I'm going to have to go. I don't think I can stick around for questions. I actually have a session with one of my clients at 1 o'clock. I'm late. I'm late. But she'll understand. She'll understand. But make sure, if you have any questions, you guys, feel free to message me. You can message me right here on your platform, wherever you're watching me from. You can put your comments below, or you can email me at tiffany@drtiffanyross.com. Tomorrow, actually, I will stop taking coaching, one-to-one coaching. While I've been on here, I've seen 2 people apply to schedule a session. Like, it came up on my notification. Tomorrow is the last. I'm closing my books for September on tomorrow. And the next appointment that you will have available after tomorrow will be in October. So tomorrow will be the last day for you to book appointment with me in September. So if you are interested in that, I don't know which platforms you're hitting. I usually put it in the description. If you're on IG, you can go directly to my profile and it will be there. You can schedule directly from there. If not, click the link. The link will take you to my website where you can schedule directly from my website. If you're watching on Facebook, it should be right there in the pinned comments. It should say your first minutes of coaching is on us, and that's because your first 30 minutes is on us. Our discovery calls are free. We take 30 minutes to the first 15 minutes of those 30 minutes to actually just hear you, to hear what you're dealing with, what you're struggling with, what you're looking at working on. And then the next 15 minutes of that, we're talking strategy, whether that's me referring you out to a therapist, or whether that's me saying, here are the programs that we have, or here's the best route that would suit you. So I love you. I got to run. If you have any questions, make sure you get those to me. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Bye.